Well, there was. Did you know that there's a property? Piece of property in front of that house on Main Street.
This is utilities.
Supposed to receive from the state.
This is the councilwoman, which is the same board that's up here now.
There she goes. She's going to sign some papers again.
Huh?
There she goes, passing out papers to sign again.
No, all I have is this. Well, and these you have to sign.
You know what?
This is the board of works.
They
so
called,
you
but
have to sign that.
another issue, they haven't answered for me.
It belongs to the
No,
state.
there's nothing.
Well, they'll ask you about that.
This one goes,
Is,
this one goes to Mooch, right? Mr.
Yes.
Todd?
Is
They call about
Aaron?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this to him because
They've been
it's
screwed by the state.
A little bit I know about it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Screwed by the state.
Hey, Mario.
I don't have a
Mario. How'd JR do this week? I didn't get to watch.
Aaron. I'm gonna explain this to you too. This just is addressed to council, so I'm giving it to council president. Okay? Well, I just wanted to let you know. Aaron, I put 2 pieces of mail.
Oh, thank you. I'll give it to you when I get home. She made me do them, huh?
I wouldn't even
I'll
suggest
just wait on
Well,
that.
bring him, sit him on it. Well, yeah, we'll sit it. He'll be here. He'll be here. He said,
Let you know,
I don't have to.
I got called out on my vacation. And the other thing is,
And we were
I have to
actually
go here.
missing a signature.
You know, I'm off again Thursday.
okay.
Yeah, you want to do that for
Missing a
me?
signature
I'm
last
working
time.
Easter Sunday.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think you need to work. You need to work.
I gotta work Easter Sunday, nobody wants it.
Okay, sure.
Apparently, you're paying it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Always hurt you gotta keep them big
That's what I heard. I heard that a long time ago. When I sat over there and called people from work. Yeah, more than what you need.
We're gonna do
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Board of Works first anyway, yeah?
Pipeline safety, yeah.
There you go. Nice, I'll listen to you.
That's on the top of my list. Okay. My junk up here. I'll swap it with Mooch's stuff and then we get him up here.
So we're going to do a second.
Pipeline safety.
Favorable vote from the utility board. We already have the.
We get that bill.
Sit on the bill.
I remember that one.
Back the night.
You too. Thank you, and I'll tell you.
That's what we're going to do, set up a public hearing. This is, I'll just send it on to,
This one I'll send on.
okay.
Happy birthday, Mr. Cook.
Yeah, and
Hey, I dropped some papers off for you down there. They're maintenance request forms. So just put on there, fix leaks of roads and email it or fax it up to us.
My stuff all together. We'll do it this way.
Yeah.
How's that?
Another day, Mel.
Yep. Right, it's a shame I can't see another dollar.
I know, another dime. That's the way I'm looking
Hey,
at
sir,
it.
how are you? I'm doing well, doing well.
Hey, your
Keeping you busy?
I'm writing it down.
Hi, Lee. It's a good day. Good, how are you?
All I hear from you.
Right there? Go say hi to him. Board of Works first.
Yes. He's keeping busy too.
I'll swap them out as possible. Adult Center, get some information on how it's programmed.
Yeah.
So, how you doing, Tom? Remember they were, that Rising King people, and then they did all that.
Oh,
So,
I like it.
That's what it's doing. They're gonna bring it here. And then just, yeah, it's for the
Vegas?
Yeah.
Next week?
I think it might be
So you
West
want to turn
Palm.
it twice.
Suggestion?
I've been looking through it too. I see what it was. I'll give it to you.
The first race at Pomona this year, the semifinals, Phoenix, not worth a crap. Last week, this past weekend, car showed potential in the quarterfinals, so. He's got a new team, though, it's kind of like all new team, they're struggling. They're struggling.
And then the boat races,
overpowering right now. Yeah, they've. I think they got a combination. They got a new car they just brought out last week, so I give a race or so. They get in the grooves.
great, how you doing? Nothing exciting.
Yeah,
No fist fights.
Not
it's
recently.
good. It's really good. When it's bad, it's really sad. You know.
Everybody in this week.
No, don't. That's the calmest place in there. Yeah.
We will.
But probably a good thing you don't serve alcohol. Yeah, then there would be.
It's a little late this year, but I'll take it.
She switched the Fall Fest meeting so you can make some. I guess you couldn't make them on that day, so I'll get you a list tomorrow.
Would you?
I think she switched a few from because you can't make them on Tuesdays. Switched to some of them to Thursdays.
It looks like this one here, you got a little all worked
My
out.
phone's not been working good the past
I just found this.
few days. That's where this one came from. They keep saying roaming, no service, and I've never had a problem, and I've had Sprint for 15 years, but I think it's the phone.
On this one, Paul, what this one is, this is going to, this is
Yeah.
utility rate.
Like right now I got service, but yeah. They told me to back up all my stuff and reset it. I tried it, but it still does it once or twice a day. I have to reset it again.
First time it's ever been launched.
Yeah. Next time I'm getting a small one too. This you can see it good, but it barely fits in your pocket. Yeah, it hangs out the top of your pocket by like that much. Yeah.
So it's a separate issue.
Yeah. Like next time I'll get a small one because it fits in your pocket regular. But this thing is, it's easy to see, but like that much hangs out of your pocket.
And the other piece of it is
Friday.
Yeah. It's heavy too.
we can't count anybody ever seen
How about you over there?
I'm hanging in there. That's great.
It's been well over there so far.
This is a straight process. It's been better. No issue. They're grabbing from that way. We are $1,000 a year gap. Paying for firewall protection.
You know you can stop at any time.
No, I went over and told them, I said, we provide a service.
Break right now, so they're doing.
Friend down and they're giving us it should just be a flat hand.
It's a better weather than here, probably. I haven't checked.
You got a coin? Mike, you got a coin or Leatherman on you?
Yeah.
You got a coin, quarter, or Leatherman, or straight blade, or...
All right, bud.
It's like the ditch forward. Well, it's like this bench forward a little bit.
We don't have any 16. We don't have these are just 4 minutes. We could.
Tony, I do.
Sure, years ago, if it's still there or not.
How's it going?
Same stuff every day.
Could be though. I mean, it's actually we didn't see this being
It's a local that went up there years ago.
How's everything going?
If I don't do any heat and air, why do I need to do if I don't do any business for the city, why do I need a conflict of interest? I would turn it in, but just leave it alone. I left my You already did one, didn't you? I seen it.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
But
What you did collect, but yeah, I did have one, I wouldn't worry about it.
I turned one of the months and I got this morning.
You guys don't change the clock.
Well, I like about this guy.
Probably nothing.
Mustache.
Yeah.
All it is always neat.
Tell him he's 20 behind.
I must be shaking.
Had a long time. Travis?
I knew it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it is.
You had to get one of the maintenance men to come down here.
Oh, he's gonna be.
I know.
I'll have to check with Connie.
Ready, Bill?
Hey, Board of Works first, guys.
Okay.
Let me talk to you guys about it, I think, separately.
Board of Works, guys, first. Everything going back there.
Paper sitting here somewhere, you need to share
We've done a lot of fights together.
I don't know what kind of signs you want me to order to
I would
Welcome, everyone. Glad to see everybody out tonight. I want to call to order the March 21st, 2016 Board of Works meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Paul Seymour. Here. Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Donnie Combs. Here. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine. EMS Director Bobby Mills. Here. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Building Director Owen Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right, any announcements? Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Not a lot tonight, just some informational items. Did pass out. Usually, one is a explanation of fortunate kids do experimental drugs. Also, last week, on President about a year and a half ago, participated in a program what it is. Right now, we're in the information and what the fact our emergency within half a mile, emergency the reason I'm bringing that to light, I would like permission. They're okay with myself and probably a couple of my other guys locating firehouse. Board's okay with that.
You just need a head nod, or you want? Okay. You guys, any questions?
there'll be a big hospital in the county, a real big
One question, Johnny. Are the people maybe in the county or the city that's not trained, certified for CPR, will there be any classes or anything maybe available?
I know Bobby can probably answer better than I can. The only other thing that I have is, I haven't heard, the fire department is losing one.
How long's Ernie been with the fire department? Okay,
It'll be a loss.
yeah.
Ernie, a full-time fireman or a volunteer?
Or volunteer.
Volunteer, part-time?
Anything else, Johnny? All right, Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have, the board that I can ask permission tonight for. One of my line items.
I'm willing to,
We'll do it in the form of a motion.
Make a motion.
I'm sorry?
Food to touch transfer.
Okay. The transfer for it? Okay. Still need a motion to accept the responsibility to do that. Second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll get that set up then, Don. EMS Director Bobby Mills. All right, thank you. All right, nothing else, new business. What I've got in front of you guys is it's a contract to enter into an agreement with Reedy Financial Group. They're out of Seymour. They do nothing but work with municipalities, and what they were going to do is what they call a, what do we call it here? They don't call it an audit, because the only people that can do an audit in the state of Indiana is State Board of Accounts, but they will be reviewing our accounts and then just letting, I just want to know where we're starting from as far as where the cash is located, where the investments are, things like that. So we have something to go by, just starting a new administration and such. So I would like your approval to enter into this agreement. So I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to do this. Is this just strictly mayor's office, or is this participation?
They will be pulling the information from Mr. Tyler Rainey's office, but it's at my request.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still like to make the motion to go forward with this.
Second? Mooch? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys. Next item, Mike Clark, Lawrenceburg Greendale Trail Connector Proposal.
Thank you, Your Honor. We just recently completed a feasibility study for numerous trails throughout Lawrenceburg. The top scoring trail was the Lawrenceburg Greendale Connector, which would connect our riverfront with the Lawrenceburg, or the Greendale Levee Trail. And we have a proposal in front of you guys tonight for context, architectural landscapes. I believe that amount is around $59,500, and it's an estimate, it is a professional service, but I still wanted to bring this in front of you. And they're going to be the lead agency in this. We're still going to have to deal with, some geotech, some surveying, some civil and structural engineering on top of it. It's a short project, but it's kind of complex. We have to deal with the Corps of Army Engineers, IDEM, IDNR, and the railroad. So we're going to need some help to get this done. And at this time, I'm asking if you guys would like to accept this proposal so we can go ahead and move forward with this project.
Now this is, you say there's one of 5 different pieces of this trail?
It's one of 5 trails that we studied in the feasibility study. This was the most feasible, the highest scoring. So this is the direction we'd like to go. We are looking into obtaining some grant funds on this also. But we've got to go to this phase to come up with have a shovel-ready project available for funding.
I believe OKI has funds out there that specifically has to be used in Lawrenceburg for this type of project as well.
I know there's some from OKI. There are numerous through NDOT with some byways and some different areas, funding sources through them. And we are currently checking all different avenues right now.
I know Judy's been helping with the grant pieces of those, so that's good. Okay. You got any questions, guys?
Yeah, this is basically going underneath the casino. No, it's not that area.
Well, we're going to run it along. Right now, the feasibility study showed that we would best take it, along like I said, it is going to go under it somewhere, but along the top of the levee, actually put a bridge, a bike and pedestrian bridge over the floodgate and the railroad, and then across the top of the levee to tie into Greendale's.
I guess the only thing I was getting at is we're just trying to connect, I'll just say from Ivy Tech to the US 50 where that's at. That's the area we're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Now, I guess my other question is the city in Greendale, and I think other people are also thinking about other portions, or is this?
No, it's a separate but part of a much bigger plan. We've already met with Greendale. Any grants, we will more than likely co-apply. But the big picture is it starts in Hamilton County, Ohio. The Hamilton County Park District wants to tie into the state line, and then we take it from the state line all the way to Rising Sun. Now there's a half a dozen different pieces and parts of that. Of course, we won't be involved with all of it, but it's part of a larger master plan.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'd let motion. Yeah, I'd like to give you a motion to pursue this with your recommendation.
All right, second. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Any other new business that I'm not aware of? There's nothing on anything under old business? All right, I need a motion to accept the claims for board approval.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Utility Board, as soon as we're seated.
council.
No, I mean, that motion.
Here we go.
I'll do that. On this here, on this, all right, on you thing. All good, how are you doing? Good. See it? Build the highest that they could. Before they got an agreement with them, they'll start stepping in now, so that people pay their match. Yeah. Like my brother Bess, yes. That's right.
All right, I'd like to call to order the March 21st, 2016 Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting. Need a roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis. Here. Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour. Here. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements?
Yes, Your Honor, I've got a couple. We had planned to do things more formally, but because of some changes in this employee's plans, which I understand, we're gonna recognize him here tonight. Rob, would you please stand up? Rob has worked for the Lawrenceburg Utilities for 30 years. At least on the 29th of next month, it'll be 30 years. He's done an outstanding job. I've gotten to know Rob over the last several months and can tell you that he is everything that a utility director hopes to have as an employee. He's an exemplary employee. So I wanted to take a minute to recognize him and give him a big round of applause for his service. I'd also like Shane Holloway to stand. Shane Holloway is a new addition to the utilities. He's been with us since the 7th of this month. He's a great fit for the utilities. We've got a number of positions that we have left unfilled to try to right-size the departments and to take a holistic approach and look at how we might do our staffing, be cognizant of cost and what our community needs. We interviewed a number of people before we selected Sean, and my comments to the people on the interview board with me was, if this guy doesn't accept the job, we're going to re-advertise, because this is what we're after. So we welcome him. We're looking forward to a long, healthy relationship with him as an employee, getting to know the people in the community and to help provide the same level of service that Rob helped to provide. So thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Any other announcements?
No, sir.
All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, please. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other reports there? Olin, anything else there?
Not this time, Your Honor.
All right. New business, Olin Clausen, APPA Certificate of Excellence and Reliability.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like for the members of the utility to come up to the front of the audience, if you would. I don't require any action on this item tonight, Your Honor, but what I would like to point out is there's an agency that ranks all utilities across the United States nationally. It's the Energy Information Agency, and this year, by APPA, it's purely statistical, Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities was awarded the Certificate of Excellence and Reliability because, as they word it, we have achieved excellence and reliability by significantly outperforming the electric industry national average as reported by the Energy Information Administration. There are just less than 1.5% of all utilities reach this level of reliability. So that is something for our community and for anybody wanting to come do business in Lawrenceburg to think about, that we have excellent reliability. And these gentlemen provide that service to this community. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay, next item would be Olin Weldon would be Ivy Tech Fire Flow Improvement Project.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are currently in a joint project, or as long as this is approved this evening, we'll be in a joint project with a partner, Ivy Tech, local partner in the community. They're doing some work up at the Lakeview property. It was brought to our attention that the Lakeview property doesn't have the fire flow in gallons per minute that it needs for that new investment, that new facility. Our estimated cost to bring that up to the level that it needs to be is around $9,000 to $10,000, somewhere in that vicinity. We met with Ivy Tech. We proposed a joint approach to this project, wherein they would pay for all the materials and the outside testing needed to pull the project off, and we would cover all of the labor. So roughly that's going to put the split at about a 50-50 split. So with that, I would ask that the board approve this evening.
Okay. Any questions of the board? Randy?
That this will take care of even the cul-de-sac and everything else?
Yeah, everybody will be a benefactor from
That end of the...
From that end will be a benefactor from this work. And we will have taken just so you know, we'll be taking the fire flows from roughly 900 gallons a minute to approximately 200 or 2,000 gallons per minute in that area. So everybody in that industrial area will benefit from this work.
Any other questions? I need a motion to allow him to enter into this project with Ivy Tech on the fire flow improvement.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Olin, next item will be utility refund.
Thank you, Your Honor. It was brought to our attention by a customer of ours that we had been billing them under the wrong tariff for some time. We sat down and went through the bills with this individual and discovered that for not the same period of time, but also for a period of time, they hadn't been paying their water sewer bills. So we were able to come to an agreement that, based off of being accepted here this evening, wherein we would back bill them for the water sewer charges and we would reimburse them for the overcharges on the electrical. So the proposal is a true up on this utility customer's account. Net impact to the utility is $2,522.02.
Are you doing this in the form of a credit or a check? Just curious.
We'll leave that up to the discretion of the customer. One thing we don't want to do is keep a credit on the books for more than 12 months because we're obligated to pay them interest on that money. So it's really and truly up to them. They could apply it to their monthly bills, but if and when it gets to the point that there's 12 months and still a credit left, we would probably insist that they take that in the form of a check.
All right. Questions?
Is this something that the customer is wholeheartedly for and smiling?
Yes, absolutely.
Other questions? I just need a motion to approve the utility refund. Vote. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Mr. Weldon, fire protection ordinance.
Thank you, Your Honor, and for the fire protection ordinance and the LMS interlocal, if it's okay with Mr. Clausen, I would defer to him for this portion.
On the fire protection ordinance, I would ask that the council give me an affirming vote to move this on to the utility board for further discussion and for first reading.
Utility board
On to common council, thank you.
Okay.
I got a question. Just talked to you, and we aren't really putting any cost to some people, but our residents are going to see a charge, and if we pursue the county, we might be able to get that back. Here's my only problem is I know we need to do things like this, and I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot of money, but so far all we've did is put not a whole lot of money on our utility bills, and everybody's feeling it. So I'm all for this, But I got a question for Dale, and you tell me if I'm wrong here. I would vote for this thing in a second if we'd already have, if we could go and get that money from the county, or make sure they're not gonna get it, and we would get it paid to ourselves. But are we in a situation here where we okay this, we put a little bit on the bill, and then it takes us 2 or 3 years to work this out with the county, and all we got is more government getting a little bit more from the people? Can you explain?
Yeah, I would, and if it'd be okay if we'd walk through this now, have the discussion now as opposed to in the common council. And I'd call on John Scomp. He is with Crow and Horwath. He's assisted us in all the documentation you're seeing here before you today. He can provide an explanation to it, what you do, what's been done in other communities, the fact that this isn't a new charge for the customers. This is a charge the customers are already paying. It's just a different way of showing this charge to the customers. As far as the county's concerned, we will begin, that will be a new revenue source for the utilities. What I mean by that is, we passed an ordinance many years ago wherein we would bill the county for public fire protection. Well, the county has never paid any of those monies to us. I met with the county, had the discussion with them, explained to them in great detail that we had an ordinance that provided this, had a provision for billing for this. And they thought that was wonderful that we had an ordinance, but they were careful to point out that that was our ordinance, not theirs, and so here we are. So what this would do is it would take the 5/8 meter equivalent, the bills that are already being paid by the customers in the city of Lawrenceburg, realign those costs or have those costs show up in a different way, and new charges from the county. All of these people who are benefiting from public fire protection, who are not currently paying into the system, those people will have a bill, and those people will pay into this. And we will send a notice to each one of those customers in direct mail stating that to that effect, if we move to that point. John?
Will my bill go up? Well, if I'm paying $50 a month now, will I have another line item and still be paying $50 a month? That's my question. Property taxes that I'm paying are going to the county, and they're receiving money, but they're not providing a service.
Yeah, trying to follow them through the process of who they allocate the money to. It goes to the trustees. The trustees have some mechanism, how they provide that fire protection in the county. And it is not making its way back to Lawrenceburg. I mean, that's a conversation and an approach that we can try to go down that road with them, but I think that we're going to meet a lot of resistance in trying to do that. This corrects things. Your net out of pocket will be the same, but we will start collecting from those outside the city who are not currently paying into the project.
Bill will go up a small amount, but my taxes will go down a little bit.
Have you talked to the trustees about how they put their money out?
Yeah, we've had the discussion. The problem is, I guess, where I as a utility director and where this utility board has authority. So we have no authority to compel or to force, for lack of a better word, the trustees or the county to do anything. They've got to agree to it. They've got to love the idea about it. This way, it shows up on the utility bill. There is no debating it.
No, we've had in the past, I think you talked about it before, Johnny, that the fire department does get money from the township for fire protection. So is Greendale. Doesn't mess with the hydrants.
That probably doesn't have anything to do with the physical hydrant being located near their property.
Manpower.
Any other questions? Okay.
So basically, the utility bills go up a small amount, the property taxes should go down about that same amount, and the county's going to receive a bill, so they'll have to send money back to Lawrenceburg then.
It won't be the county, it'll be the individual customers.
Okay.
It'll be only
Okay.
those customers whose property is within 1,000 feet of a hydrant.
Okay.
So customers in the county who do not have a hydrant and are not benefiting from public fire protection, they would be excluded completely. So it's just those customers who meet the criteria.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so we need a motion to move it forward to common council.
I'd
Favor?
like to make a motion to move this forward to council.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next item is the LMS interlocal.
Thank you, Your Honor. The LMS interlocal agreement is an agreement that is between Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities and Lawrenceburg, Manchester, Sparta Township. We have approximately 166 customers who have shared services, meaning they're provided water by LMS, but they're provided sewage from LMU. Out of those 166 roughly, 5 of those customers were allowed to call in their readings on a monthly basis. Because we weren't allowing additional customers, new customers, to call their readings in, because if you can imagine, that needs to happen in a timely manner every month. And when you start adding additional people to that, it becomes problematic. It gets to the point where people forget to call in their reading. It's not the first thing on their mind, they're on vacation, whatever the case may be. To compound that, Lawrenceburg, Manchester, Sparta had recently moved to remote meter readings, meaning that they no longer go out to the meter pit and take the meter lid off and read the meter dial down in the pit anymore and write it down on a piece of paper, but they read it remotely. So that added to the problem because grass grows over the meter lids, they fill up with water, they're covered up with snow, so those customers who may have been willing to go and open those lids and read those meters no longer have that access. So it makes it where that option really is not possible. So therefore, it makes the system where it's slightly unfair to those customers who are able to call the readings in and those who are not. This interlocal agreement is basically the framework that will allow Lawrenceburg and LMS to exchange data, i.e. meter readings and customer data that could be confidential. It also spells out some guidelines on how we're to interact with one another. What they will provide us under this interlocal agreement is the meter readings from their automatic meter reading system. We have taken the time, had our software company build a cross-reference list where we can plug that into the system and generate a bill off of actual consumption. This has taken longer than some customers would have liked for it to take, but we were careful in our approach so that we didn't make mistakes and so that we we can just deal with this one time and just move on. So with that, I would like to get approval for this interlocal agreement. It has some signatures that are required on the back pages, but so long as they're in agreement to this document, and we have been working with Mr. Kramer, their attorney, this is the document he sent back to us with his edits, so from my perspective and from Dale's, we are willing to accept what is on the face of these two documents, so long as it's approved here tonight.
Any questions?
I know you've been working on it for a while. It sounds like both parties again are in agreement. I'd like to make a motion that we follow your recommendation.
Yeah, need a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Long
All
time
right,
coming.
any old business?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I need a motion to accept the claims for board approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, City of Lawrenceburg, call to order the council meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Rainey, can I get a roll call, please?
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine. EMS Director Bobby Mills. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Hey, any announcements?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Usually they put the speed bumps up in the spring in front of Central School with people going down that street. I guess the snow's done for the year. Is there any date when we can put those back up?
Your direction, we can have them next week.
Sounds good to me. As long as there's no more snow. I don't think there's gonna be any.
Hope not.
Never know.
All right, yeah, let's get them done next week. All right, anything else? Any other announcements? All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes for the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Everybody should have some documents just
All right, Police Chief Donna Combs.
have a meeting this Thursday with one of them. Our weather is breaking.
Okay. So if, anybody out in the audience, if you have a business or know of anybody that wants to take advantage of this active shooter training, it's pretty much a countrywide push for this. We all hear about it on the news and such, so please let Chief Combs know if you want to take advantage of it. They'd be happy to oblige, so. All right, EMS Director Bobby Mills. All right. New business, Tom Palmer, use of trail for AIM. Any questions from council? I need a motion to accept the use of the trail on May the 7th.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Tom. All right, we're going to skip down Mike Clark, Eichelberg and Lewis subdivision replat of lots 307 through 311.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. What this is, and you've got a copy in front of you, is the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission has replatted 5 lots into 4. It has gone in front of the Plan Commission, has been certified by that commission, forwarded on to this board. At this time, we would ask that council certify this so we can go ahead and get this recorded, and then the LRC will have 4 new lots of record that they can go ahead and market and develop.
Any questions from up here at the council? All right, I need a motion to accept the replatting of lots 307 through 311 in the Eichelberg and Lewis subdivision. Moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Brian Messmore, Dearborn Plaza.
Thank you, Mayor. On March 14th, 2016, the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission voted in favor of $840,000 in expenditures for the redevelopment of Dearborn Plaza, otherwise known as the Old Kroger's. The expenditure would be appropriated with council's approval out of the Redevelopment Non-Reverting Fund 291. The $840,000 includes 3 components: renovation of the existing shopping center and build-outs for the 2 major retailers. Summary of the build-out and community benefits: approximately $6 million in renovation improvements, 60 employees, combination full and part-time, $1 million in annual wages and benefits, $8 million in annual sales, utilization of local contractors in renovation and build-outs, and a strong possibility of additional retailers to sign on. So tonight, on behalf of the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission, we are requesting authorization from council for these expenditures. These expenditures are to be paid only upon receipt of the purchase agreement and certificates of occupancy. No upfront money.
Yeah, just to be clear, this will be paid at the end of the project, not during the project or at the beginning. It'll all be done on the back end. Any questions from council?
I don't have a question, Your Honor, but as a member of the Redevelopment Commission, I think that this is a step toward the revitalization of our town. I think it's a positive step. I would urge the people to...
I got a question. Are we here to approve something, or you just said this was just, we're just here to allocate some money?
We got to approve the expenditure.
I got a lot of questions. Are we opening a door that we closed? I got another question. How is a developer guaranteeing 60 jobs? Are we in conversation with the 2 stores, retail? How are they gonna put $6 million into that project? Guys, here's my biggest question. We had a guy buy a shopping center. He's obviously a smart fella. He's got the money to go to the bank, and he purchased that thing. I don't know that we had to give him a dime to do what he's going to do. I personally think that if I was going to do something like that, I would have to go to the bank, find out what I could do, where I needed help, but he was actually able to purchase that expensive piece of property. He's been talking to these people, and now he's needing us. I don't know if he needs us. And I gotta ask you, is it the best thing for our money to put this much money in this project when we're thinking about other things in town? Do we have the money to take that amount of money, and then a month later, we've only been in office 2 months, and the first guy to walk in the door, we're hopping on something? I'm struggling with this. Now, if it's a vote and it's a done deal, I've got another question. Are we going to sign an agreement with the developer or the stores for these jobs? Because the developer's not going to create one job. And, in my opinion, how do we hold their feet to the fire on a certificate of occupancy giving them this money? Couldn't we spread it out over a 4 or 5 year period, ask them up front to see their manpower, their payroll, and if they do not commit to that and they don't do it the first or second year, we quit giving them money. We got to do something different, and I know that's what we're trying to make an effort to do, is something different than what we've done in the past. But I hope that we get some teeth in this, because I don't see many teeth in it, and I don't really see where the guy needed any help.
I'm a little confused, I guess, then, Paul, because this is a project that's going to be well over $6 million.
Do we know that because he said it was, or have we seen the facts?
We've seen the project costs. He's in talks with I mean, not in talks, but he's got a lease, a signed lease with two retailers. Looking at a third, I'm talking about just for the major piece of the development. He's also been getting calls. I mean, the place will be filled up. He feels once these 3, all right, come out and identify themselves, the rest of the property will be filled up. I mean, here's a piece of property that's been sitting vacant. How long? I mean, 6, 8, 9 years. Not getting us a dime, and we got a guy that's willing to spend a bunch of his own money that's sitting in a floodplain, and he's well aware of that. He's taking the chance on all this, and I think we've protected ourselves pretty well on this.
Well, I know we're making an effort, okay? My question to you is how secure are we getting these 60 jobs from the developer? I mean, he's talking to these other 2 people, and frankly, the 2 stores that we all, once they find out who's in there, I mean, they don't man their stores with a whole lot of people. We're talking the retail market. How can somebody guarantee jobs because they're going to fill this store with as much people as they need to make a profit? It's not a factory. It's a totally different kind of commercial world. I'm just, if there's any way, I'm not for doing this at all, but I would sure, I don't want to be the guy that holds us up from going forward, but would this guy take the same deal if we spread it out 4 years and told him that, hey, you know, if you live up to your end of the deal here, we'll write you out a check every year.
You know, I think we've done a service to everybody by doing it on the back end. That's something that's
It's
different.
an improvement.
But the thing is, Paul, any jobs over there at all right now are more than we got now.
And I'd like to ask a question, because I think somebody will know the answer to it. How many months did the city of Lawrenceburg pay the person? I always heard that the city wrote whoever the owner was a check for a certain amount of month for quite a period of time.
I heard that.
You know, if that happens, how are you going to fill a place up? Because I'd rather have an empty place paying me a good amount of money than a full one wearing it out. So I look at the building. It's a really nice building. It doesn't need a whole lot of work, and I've done a whole lot of work, and $6 million would go a long way. I think I could build the whole damn complex for that. So I said my piece. That's all I want to say. That's it. You know, I'll be behind it. That'll be the last negative thing I say about it.
I appreciate the comments. Any other comments?
I mean, I'm not against it, but I mean, I'd like to have more information, because I don't know anything about it, like how it's set up, like when occupancy, did they get their money, or they get it as soon as they get done spending their $5 million, $6 million? I don't know anything about the whole project.
How was it phrased?
Upon completion, purchase agreements and, complete, and upon certificate of occupancy. So basically, ready to let customers in the door. And that was, the tail end belief. And I will, there is a certain amount of I believe, uncertainty in anything we try to do. So, I mean, I appreciate your comments, and, we've had some of the same conversations, trying to sort this thing out. But it's, I think it's a great opportunity for the community based on the conversations I've had with members of the Redevelopment Commission, members of the community, without releasing the names of the retailers. I believe the retailers are pretty trustworthy, and I think there's 10 and 20-year agreements in their lease agreements. I think, that it's going to be there and be full a long time.
How are the retailers buying into the amount of employees? I mean,
They're the ones that provided the numbers.
They're willing to provide you the numbers?
They provided the numbers. That's a combination of the two retailers that are on the lease agreement.
We have a list of, are we going to be managers, or we just going to be clerks, or are they going to give you a list of what we expect? Or I guess, guys, here's the thing. We just, and me and you talked about this, we got to change things. And I can appreciate you're trying to change things here, but I think that we just had Dollar General come into town, and they gave us money for the property, and they put one heck of a building in, and they didn't ask for nothing. We just had a dentist go down there, and here we are. We just had people come to our town because they wanted to, and I just got a feeling we don't need to open this door again. But if we open it, here's my next question to you. How many other people are going to knock on that door now, and how can we turn them down?
We have that ability to do it. If it doesn't fit what we want to do, we have that ability to turn it down.
And I would hope there's going to be a lot more knocking on our door. That's more business coming here. I mean, I want to go on record. I'm in favor of this. This guy's putting in at least $4.4 million himself. Two other retailers are putting in over $1 million themselves. So, and we're worried about losing our $800,000. Well, I think they're just as worried about losing their 4.4 and their other 1-point-some million each store too. They're not going in there to lose that money. They want to put a business in there and have it thrive. So, I'm well behind. If we can spend, what is it? How much is the grant for?
$840,000.
$840,000 for over a $6 million project and 60 jobs. I'm well behind it.
Well,
Satch, it's
$6 million because he says it's $6 million.
Satch, it's no difference I see than we pay 15% of somebody building a new house out there, we're still offering money. Come to Lawrenceburg. That's what we're saying. We're doing the same thing here for businesses. It's no different.
And I think also, either way we go tonight, I'm certainly in favor, just based on the conversations I've had with many people. But I do think that we can certainly on an annual basis budget a specific amount that we would have available to do these kinds of projects when we are approached. Sometimes we're approached and there's a time-sensitive sort of issues that need to be dealt with rather quickly, and a certain amount of a level of trust amongst each other. It's a great conversation. It's what we should be talking about.
Well,
So,
this
you know,
is a good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome conversation, yeah.
And I sure don't mean it to be.
You're not.
And I hope that we work together the next 4 years, and that truly mean that. That's all I had to say.
Your comment, Mike? I'm not going to give you the names, but anybody you bring to town is going to have some competitor. Competition breeds success. Doesn't matter if it's a restaurant or a retail merchant or whatever. Talk to the people even down here. I mean, the more people we bring to town, the more foot traffic we get, the more everybody's going to reap the success. So I don't know if I can answer that question in a manner that would be, yeah, Jane?
Well, I'll go to our right over here and just, I think Lawrenceburg's put some money in some pump stations.
Those
I don't know.
That's stormwater pump stations,
Okay.
not flood control. US 50 is not a flood wall. It's like any other structure. The structures are sound. It is located in the floodplain. It has flooded one time in 1997. Since it was built, I believe in the early 70s. In fact, the original owner figured in his pro forma that once every 25 years, it'll probably flood. In fact, he said if he wouldn't have remodeled it the year before, it was already penciled in and covered. But, yeah, there's always the potential, but the building is sound. Absolutely. I tried to scare him off, but I couldn't.
It's outside the levee, Jane.
Only stormwater. It could flood tomorrow. We pump stormwater out that rains inside that bowl or that comes down from Ludlow into that area. There are no flood control measures in that area.
When that feller went to the bank and signed all the papers, he would have been asked, and he would have been told that it was in a floodplain.
Hey, Paul, that's correct.
He's a good enough businessman that he knows everything he just walked into.
And one of the things that made the project a little more difficult from his perspective was the fact that he did have to cover the flood insurance, per square foot at a higher rate than a typical out of the floodplain area, so that made it perhaps a little more in need of a redevelopment opportunity.
you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to be sure about this.
But the council has to approve the expenditures.
There, it is, Joe, if I may, Your Honor. There's an ordinance that exists in the city of Lawrenceburg that states that redevelopment spending, although redevelopment is an independent entity, that redevelopment spending must also be approved by council, or must be approved by council. And so that's why, and you're right, there's a presentation made to the redevelopment commission. It was vetted and we went through the entire process with redevelopment. They made a vote to approve, but the spending itself, because of this ordinance, must be, again, approved by council. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, motion, I need a motion to accept the expenditures on the Dearborn Plaza. Moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott,
Aye.
Member Aaron Cook,
Aye.
Member Mel Davis,
Aye.
Member Randy Abner,
Aye.
Member Paul Seymour.
No.
Motion carries. Thanks, guys. Good discussion. Yes.
You said this was gonna come out of the fund, Brian, development, we're gonna have to do another additional, either out of the line item that already exists, or a new one that council decides to create. There's a capital outlay, we could always use that, but we still have to transfer to an additional for that line. I would assume that's the line you're gonna use, but you don't have to.
Take it out of the fund that's in there.
That'll be another one down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. All right. Next item is Del Weldon, Indiana Housing Development Grant Fund.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the fund itself and the program was presented to council, whereby a matching grant program would be created, and where the state would match the remainder of $150,000, where we'd pay 10%, and this would be used for housing grants. That process was approved. This is simply the creation of the fund. We'll actually manage the funds. Again, it refers to $150,000, but we're matching 10% of that. We're paying 10% of that. Is that right, Suzanne? Okay. And so this is an ordinance that would create the funds that we could administer locally the monies and distribute them. So with Your Honor's permission, I would do the first reading tonight.
All right.
And I'll read verbatim. City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, Indiana Housing Development Grant Fund, new fund ordinance. This is ordinance number 4-2016. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to create a new fund for the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief 2. Whereas the clerk treasurer of the city of Lawrenceburg shall create and maintain a separate fund and account for the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief 2. The fund shall be entitled Indiana Housing Development Grant, parentheses, Fund 293. Whereas the monies deposited in the fund created, parentheses 293, shall not revert to the general fund and shall be in the amount not to exceed $150,000. Whereas the purpose of this fund shall be for the undertakings of a housing-related grant program to benefit City of Lawrenceburg income-eligible homeowners which meet the national objective requirements of the Federal Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, and applicable federal regulations promulgated from time to time by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, parentheses HUD, and the Indiana Department of Commerce. Whereas the authority vested in the Board of Directors is authorized to take all necessary steps, apply for, and accept money in the form of a recoverable grant. Further resolved that the mayor of the city of Lawrenceburg be authorized, empowered, and directed to execute all documents as necessary and appropriate to complete grant transactions in a form and manner as is acceptable to IHCDA. And that is the first reading, Your Honor.
Okay. I need a motion to accept the first reading of ordinance number 4-2016. 5-2016. Need a motion?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then need a motion to suspend the rules for grant, or ordinance number 4-2016 to read by title only, second reading. I need a motion to suspend the rules first.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I need a motion now to read ordinance number 4-2016 by name only.
So moved.
Second. By name only? I'm sorry, first was who? Second? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you can read the second reading, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's the second reading of ordinance number 4-2016 by title only. City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana Housing Development Grant Fund - New Fund Ordinance number 4-2016.
Need a motion to accept ordinance number 4-2016.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Your Honor, may I have a motion to suspend the rules of order and have the third and final reading today, and also a motion to read by title only?
I need a motion to suspend the rules to read the third and final reading of ordinance number 4-2016 by title only.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor. Third and final reading of ordinance number 4-2016 by title, and title is City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana Housing Development Grant Fund - New Fund Ordinance number 4-2016.
I just need a motion to approve the final reading of ordinance number 4-2016.
So moved.
Second?
Your Honor, before we second, how will this be administered?
Yeah. And there'll be, the claims will be reviewed. We're administering the funds, but there'll be a board that takes applications and reviews them, pursuant to the criteria.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Next item is fire protection ordinance.
Thank you, Your Honor. And tonight, Your Honor, if it pleases the council, we will do the first reading, and this is an ordinance that actually requires publication and a public hearing. And so if it pleases Your Honor, we would just ask for the first reading, and we will schedule a public hearing and advertise that in local newspapers as required. And I'll read the first reading verbatim. This is ordinance number 5-2016. An ordinance to change the method of recovering the cost of providing water for public fire protection purposes. Whereas the City of Lawrenceburg owns and operates a municipal utility, Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities, for the purposes of providing water utility services to the public in and around the city. And whereas LMU provides water for public fire protection purposes, the costs of which are currently recovered by directly billing the city pursuant to an approved rate schedule. And whereas Indiana Code Section 8-1-2-103D and F authorize a change in the way such costs are to be recovered upon passage of an ordinance by the city, with such change reflected in the rates of the LMU in and adjacent to the city in the manner and extent permitted by statute. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana as follows. 1. Pursuant to Indiana Code Section 8-1-2-103D and F, the costs for the production, storage, transmission, sale, delivery, and furnishing of water for public fire protection purposes shall be included in the basic rates and charges of all customers of LMU in and adjacent to the city in the manner and extent permitted by statute. 2. Effective upon the date of this change in the manner of recovering public fire protection costs, LMU shall cease directly billing the city for these costs other than construction costs for new hydrants. 3. Public fire protection costs shall also be reflected in the rates of customers located in areas adjacent to the city and within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant. And 4. This change shall be effective on the first day of the first month following the passage of this ordinance and the passage of the new rate schedule.
I need a motion to accept the first reading of ordinance number 5-2016.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we'll have the public hearing on night of April 18th.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to, we will provide notice if it's, and has been approved for the 18th, which is a regular council meeting. We'll have the public hearing that night. It'll be noticed in the paper. You'll see it Tuesday next week and Thursday of next week to that effect.
Thank you all.
All right. Next item would be, Dell, under conflict of interest.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city attorney's office has been tasked, obviously, with a number of things. One of them is conflict of interest. I guess what would be colloquially referred to as conflict of interest. Conflict of interests in this context refer to the criminal code and the criminal statute, which is Indiana Code 3544.1-1-4. And there are two ways to consider these conflicts. One is from the perspective of the city and the council, in your honor, and the integrity of actions that are taken. The conflict of interest process is one that is not weighted, and the burden is not placed upon the city as an entity, but rather the individual. And to that end, we have made available through the clerk treasurer's office conflict of interest forms. These are uniform conflict of interest disclosure statements that are crafted by the state of Indiana. Essentially, a conflict of interest, if one is present or thought to be present, should be disclosed on one of these forms and then presented to either council or board of works for discussion and approval. Do we have any, and we had some conflict of interest forms that were presented and discussed at the first meeting. Is there a new conflict of interest form that has been submitted since the January 4th meeting?
I turned a new one in.
Okay, and Paul, may I? Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right one. So, Mr. Seymour, I'm looking at one that discusses the city judges' chambers.
Right.
And then, was there another one, or just those two?
Well, I turned that one in at the beginning of the year, and then I turned one in. I got one turned in specifically for maintenance at the Edinburgh facility. Lawrenceburg does own it, however, it is managed by ARA, and I felt like I should for that reason. And then I turned one in for a yearly one for a blanket for possible projects. However, I plan on turning one in if I plan on bidding on something, so I might have more.
Okay, and Paul, I just have the two, the city judge's office, and then the general one, possible construction projects.
Don't have you don't have the Edinburgh, because I got it right here.
Do you? Okay, may I? Maybe I do. And thank you, Paul. And so the nature of a conflict of interest disclosure, the process will be that the person submitting would please recuse themselves, and we will read the disclosure statement, and then a vote will be taken to either waive or not waive the conflict.
All right. Any questions out of council regarding process?
Thank you, and you all have this in your packets. Apparently, is that correct? Does everyone have a copy? Okay, thank you. And so I'll read the sections in which Mr. Seymour has filled out. Name and address, Paul Seymour, with his address, Council at Large and Board of Works, Governmental Entity, City of Lawrenceburg, County Dearborn. This is a single transaction. Contractor, vendor, Seymour General Contracting, and description of the contractor purchase. Seymour General Contracting will perform maintenance at the Edinburgh Services. Somebody help me out. Building.
That Lawrenceburg owns.
That Lawrenceburg owns. Thank you, Tyler. It is a yearly paid by the hour contract. They would do it as a team. Description of financial interest. This contract is an hourly contract. We do repairs only when needed, and ARA makes the work orders, and we do at their request. So that's the nature of the disclosure. That's been read verbatim. You also have a copy in your packets, and so we could open that to discussion and then a vote.
Any discussion from council regarding this conflict?
Does that satisfy, in legal's opinion, does that satisfy the conflict of interest?
And that's a good question, Mel, and that's kind of the perspective from which I've been looking at the conflict of interest process. Again, as the appointed attorney for the city of Lawrenceburg, my duty is to each of you individually, but the council as a whole, His Honor the Mayor, and then the city. And so from the perspective of representing the city, no conflict of interest, whether it exists or not, could void or make voidable any action of the city. So from the city's perspective, the city is always protected. Conflict of interest exists only within the individual member. And so it's incumbent upon each individual member to determine whether or not there may be a conflict. My advice would be, one, err on the side of caution and go through this process, and also to consult with an individual attorney, because again, it is an individual burden. However, the law does make it very clear that if this process is followed, then the conflict is waived, and that whatever action that is requested to be taken is appropriate and proper. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
So you're saying is if they vote to waive the conflict of interest, that allows him to do the work?
Yes, sir, it does, and then it protects that Mr. Seymour or whomever, it protects them individually.
Okay. All right, any other questions? I guess we need a motion to accept the conflict of interest in regards to the Edinburgh apartment housing from Mr. Paul Seymour. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And further, and this will be a uniform process that we'll use each time. The next steps are that the vote is simply recorded in the minutes and reflected in the minutes. This will be recorded with the local clerk treasurer's office. It will be copied to the State Board of Accounts, and will also be filed in the county clerk's office.
All right. You can ask Mr. Seymour to come back in.
Yes, please. Well, I guess.
Then we got, next one is Mr. Seymour's too. The next one is Mr. Seymour's too, so.
These were, those were all of them for the
okay.
entire year. So the next one was already covered at the January 4th meeting. Thank you, Tony. I thought the same thing, that's why I was confused.
That's it for conflict.
Yes, sir.
Impeached you.
He talks too much.
Yeah. All right, next item is the loan fund recovery plan.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may, we would ask Mr. Shelton from Gerner & Kearns to come to the podium. And Mr. Shelton is here today accompanied by Dave Gerner, who's the managing partner of the law firm Gerner & Kearns. Mr. Shelton, we definitely appreciate you and Mr. Gerner being here today. What I would like and what I think everyone would like is just a summary, starting with the beginning of your involvement with the city of Lawrenceburg in terms of these loans, and just work up through to today. Good, thank you.
do pay off their loan. Is a check made payable to the city? Is it made payable to the city? Okay.
On the numbers, let's make sure I got it straight. So 4 30-day notices were sent out for foreclosure, 8 for the 60-day default letters. How many required no action? 2? 3, okay. Okay. Okay.
No, thank you. Mr. Gerner? Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Mr. Gerner, you and I began talking to each other in December after the vote that took place in December 7th. Mr. Shelton described some options that were developed by your firm for what would occur once the 60 days expires, correct? And one of the options, and I'll let you describe it, but I know Mr. Shelton described it as the cornerstone or the most important part of their work, of your work. That option was not presented to the revolving loan committee or to council on December 7th. The option, is that correct? And so the previous council and the previous revolving loan committee never heard that option. And you relayed that to me in December. And thank you. Good. And since that date, we've been able to have an executive session where in private, and an executive session is just an opportunity for us to discuss litigation or legal issues. But you attended that and you were able to give the new council the information that the old council never had. And it kind of goes without saying, but maybe not, and Mr. Shelton would probably agree with this, in terms of banking information and federal regulations and confidentiality, it's not normal to discuss loans and lending information and borrow information in a public forum, is it? Is that a reason why a municipality probably shouldn't give out loans or administer loans? And then in regard to executive session or things that are discussed, as an attorney, it's not normal to discuss your client in legal issues in public or in a public forum. But we're kind of left with what we have, I suppose. And so suffice it to say that the information that was given to council, the sitting council, is much different information than the information that was given to the prior administration, the prior council, on December 7th when they made their vote. It's just different. They were given different information when they voted. And Sure, and thank you. And then finally, you were able to provide us with just a list of when the balloon payments did become due. You emailed that to me. Thank you, Mr. Shelton, or Mr. Gerner. I have no further questions for Mr. Gerner. Anyone else have questions? No. Thank you, sir. And if I may, Your Honor, just to kind of recap, these loans were made, and I think what strikes me is that in all of this has kind of lost the original good intent of the loans in the way the loans were given out. And what you've heard is that once an independent law firm had an opportunity to go back and evaluate the loans and the borrowers, they were revealed, with the exception of 2 borrowers who hold 4 of these loans, they were revealed to be very good borrowers and A and B borrowers and strong borrowers, and more than that, and what's more important than that to everyone here in this room is that they were local businesses that were offered a loan, that accepted a loan, that used this money for the good of our community, and that made, again with the exception of the 4 loans, that made payments, continued to make monthly payments until they reached the time that a balloon payment was due, that the entirety of the balance was due. And just as an example, there's a loan here that came due August 8th, 2011, and on October 6th, 2014, a letter was sent to this borrower saying that even though your balloon payment was due in 2011, we're trying to figure out what to do, just continue to make your payments. And so I think at that point is where the ball was dropped. And I think that we're in a unique position to pick that ball up, to aggressively seek out not just a little bit of the money that is owed to the city, but a great portion of it. Again, with the help of this plan and with the help of this council, to recover these millions of dollars that belong to the taxpayers, to do it in an aggressive manner and to aggressively pursue monies as has been the intent of this new administration, but to do it in an intelligent manner. I think that that has finally been accomplished, and the council is now educated in a position to go forward with that. In terms of the process tonight, Your Honor, there's no votes necessary. As you've heard, the 60-day letters have gone out. The 30-day letters went out at various times for various reasons, but all of those are out now. And just to give you an idea, these loans, the balloon payments were due October 2015, February 2015, April, July 2014, June 2014, May of 2011, August of 2011. And again, as Mr. Shelton pointed out, they were not collected at that time. And so I would just like to point that out, but I do feel very optimistic about the plan we have moving forward. We're working very well as a council and also as the city attorney's office in conjunction with this independent law firm, and we're moving forward.
Well, I for one would like to thank everyone for their patience. You know, I know it's everybody expected things to happen maybe a little quicker than they did, but we're anticipating to see, you know, recovery of these funds fairly quickly, and so they can be put back to use for what we need to use it for, economic development and otherwise. One thing I would like to say is, in defense of these borrowers, I think they've taken a beating on Facebook and such, because some of these folks, the majority of these folks have made payments on a consistent basis, and the only reason they hadn't paid it back because they hadn't been asked to. But on Facebook and other media, social media, they've been called deadbeats, they've been called this, they've been called that, and I think it's a very unfair statement. Now, there are some that maybe would have been considered that, but I'm just speaking for the majority of them. I think that they were unfairly labeled at times. But with that said, you know what? We're gonna put this thing to rest. We're gonna recover these funds and move forward. So, anybody else got anything to say up here, or like to add? Okay. Next item. Can we, I'll let you at the end, is that okay? Yeah, no problem. Anything under old business? Now you may.
You got one.
Comments from the audience?
Yes, sir. And first and yes, sir. And first and foremost, Dr. Zaharkos, you don't have to defend yourself at all. And this is the discussion that we're having. We owed it to the council to give them the information they didn't have in December, and we owe it to you, to the community at large, and we owe it to you as a borrower as well, to be treated fairly. And looking through the information that's been presented to us and the discussion we've had today, it appears that everything lines up exactly with what you've said. I don't know what conversations you might have had with Mr. Steidel, but I don't argue with, and I don't disagree with that. I don't know. Absolutely, and that's the most important thing. And to answer your question very specifically, no, your credit will not be damaged. We will not report you to a credit reporting agency. Yes, sir. That's another great question, and that's another reason why a municipality probably shouldn't be in the loan generation or the loan administration business, because a bank is under a very strict regimen of federal regulations that protects your privacy. But I can tell you that in terms of records that are held by a municipality, any information that would contain private or sensitive information of yours would not be subject to disclosure. So if someone came and requested and said, I want all of Dr. Zaharikos's private banking information, we would not disclose that information. But it does put you in a position where, first of all, you're here to begin with. Normally you wouldn't have to disclose even the fact that you have a loan, which, sure, but it's another reason why we're not a bank, we're a city, and it's another reason why maybe these loans shouldn't have been given. They were given for a good reason. It sounds like you put yours to excellent use, and we are in a position now to, at the same time, treat you very fairly, and at the same time recover the money that was loaned out.
Not in a position to forgive anything.
And also, Dr. Zaharikos, the primary reason that we needed additional time was the plan of action that will allow us to recover the largest sum of this money without forgiveness is a plan of action that was never presented to the prior administration. It has been presented to this administration, and that will allow us to recover the maximum amount of money without forgiveness. It'll be up to the council to vote on how to proceed once the 60 days expire, but it was so important to me and to the mayor that this council hear what the prior council didn't hear, that it was worth it to now be March 21st and to give this information to the public. I don't think so. That's not a loan, no sir. No sir, it's not a loan. That's a great distinction, and it's a grant. It would be a grant. Yes sir. No more loans.
We made a horrible bank.
I agree.
We got plenty of banks to do banking.
We might start doing some dentistry, but no bank.
We'll start pulling some teeth.
Thank you, Doc. We appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Anyone else? Conflict of interest forms?
That's redevelopment she's talking about, the redevelopment board.
That would have been during redevelopment.
There was not.
Tyler would know.
Hey, Jane. they're working, he made the comment that they're working on that. Yeah. That's right, Mr. Shelton, right? Yeah.
You can, I mean, I guess you would address the council, so I can speak for Mr. Shelton, and if I get it wrong, then he can let me know, but a decision was made by the city attorney at that point to not present that fourth option to you as council. It went through a process. It was not her independent decision to make that. And there was a process that was set up to investigate these loans, to bring in outside counsel to kind of make a decision, I suppose, on how to handle them. The decision to not present that fourth option was made through that process. It was definitely not made by the city attorney alone. And I can tell you that Joe Votal and Leslie Votal have been wonderful, and they've really helped me personally and this administration in this transition. They've been very transparent, shared all information. I continue to work with them to this day. So the decision was not made maliciously in any way at all, and I know that to be true. And Mr. Gerner can back me up with that. And in conjunction with that, Ms. Votal and Mr. Votal, because they knew that I would be the new city attorney, I was meeting with them. I got the opportunity to meet with Mr. Gerner, so it was a process of transition. And again, the decision was not unilaterally made. And I know what you're saying. You think you're probably feeling upset that you didn't get to hear this option. Mr. Lawrence may feel the same way. I won't speak for him. And that's why I wanted to take this time to make sure that it did get presented, because I do think it's a strong option. Gerner and Kearns believe it to be the strongest option. Again, this will be voted on at the expiration of the 60 days. One of the reasons why we're not discussing it today is because we can't reveal the options that will be offered until the 60 days have expired, because we want these loans to just be paid in cash. We want people to come down. They've gotten their letters. They went out on the 18th. We want them all to come and pay. If they don't, if some of them don't, then we fall into the category of what to do at the expiration of the 60 days. Those will be the options that you heard, plus one more option, and then council will vote on which option they prefer. But I understand why you're asking, definitely. And I felt the same way. I felt very strongly about it.
Anyone else? Okay, I need a motion to approve the claims, board approval. Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, guys. You want to be the lender?